we actually have a situation where they were testing to see our reaction. And if we have no reaction to them not consulting with us, if they have no reaction to us giving them any kind of a challenge to excluding us from this process, then they're going to do it again. Hi, this is Doug Sharp, host of the National Leadership Briefing, and this is not the Midweek Touchpoint once again, and it is not the National Leadership Briefing. This is more of a family meeting that we're going to have here today. Just do a little heart-to-heart. I'm going to be sharing some information here that is going to be difficult for you to hear. There's maybe at points in time when we're chatting here today that you might get frustrated. You might have that "why do we even bother" sort of a feeling come upon you. You may even want to quit. You may even want to just throw your hands in the air and walk out of the room and say, this is way too much of a hassle for me. I'm just going to tell you right now that I hope you don't do that. I hope you don't do that because sometimes there are setbacks. Sometimes there are things that we're going to run into, a little bit of resistance along the way. But I try to look at it this way. I mean, the reason that we're running into resistance is because we're moving forward. If we were just stationary, if we were just in one place and we weren't moving forward, then there would be no resistance and it would seem quite blissful. But blissful moments of inaction, I can assure you, are the most dangerous things to us right now. Another thing I want to just clarify too is before I get going here into this today is we're getting in pretty close to Christmas. I understand that lots of distractions out there. There's one distraction I hope that you don't let not be a priority, and that of course is the reason for Christmas and the things that we truly celebrate. I would far more prefer that you maintain to focus on the truth about the birth of Jesus and the reason why we take this time of year every year to really just to up the honor that we give our Lord and Savior. And I just really don't want you to think that because we're talking about this at this time, that this is a priority over that. I would rather that you focused entirely on your relationship with the Lord rather than this, if you have to do one or the other. So just take that, not this. But if you can do both, then let's press on. The reason why we're having these conversations, for those of you who are not on the National Leadership Briefing, I have to clarify this really important point going in, is that when we talk about politics, we don't talk about politics because we're out there looking for the big win. We're not out there just wanting to shoot the three-pointer from outside the line and score the big government win. That's not why we're here. We're here because we acknowledge and understand that civil governments at all levels, whether it's federal, provincial, or municipal, these governments are established by these processes that are political. They are political processes that put these governments into place. And those governments, once in place, have the power to make decisions that are going to either hurt and harm our neighbor or help our neighbor. So it's either going to be a benefit to our neighbor, the decisions they make, or it's going to harm them. And so I really want you to know that is why we talk about the things that we talk about related to politics. That is why we engage in developing an understanding of processes of politics, is because these civil governments are always making decisions that are either going to hurt or help our neighbor. And we want to make sure that we've got the right people in the right places with the right motivation and the right heart to make those right decisions for the people that they're serving. Now, because of the electoral cycle, because we've got this, constant minority government, we're always potentially in an election, then the government is always going to have the tendency to make politically expedient decisions. We understand that they're going to take out the political calculus, and they're going to be tempted to, rather than making the right decision, they're going to make the decision that's going to keep them alive so they can make the right decision later. At least that's the justification. Oftentimes they say, well, we're going to take this pain here of making the mediocre and / wrong decision so that we can stay in power to do all these other good things. And sadly, that's not a principled approach. It's not the approach that we take on the National Leadership Briefing. It's not what I teach. It's not what I encourage people to follow. And I encourage you, please don't take the short road. Take the right road. Stay on the right road, the principled road. The whole reason, again, like I say, is that we're here for our neighbor and the benefit of our neighbor and the well-being of our neighbor. And if we compromise that, or if we just trade it away for political expedience or this quick win on the political landscape, then we're not doing anybody any favors. We're certainly not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that's our motivation in talking about this. So here we are. We're on the National Leadership Briefing every month, getting together. We're always looking for these opportunities to advance the things that we believe in. You guys, again, you guys know this stuff. You guys know, if you're on the National Leadership Briefing, you know that. If you're not on the National Leadership Briefing, get on it, because again, we're tackling this very challenging issue now. It's complex, it's challenging. And because people have been on the briefing and they've been tracking along with us, they have a foundation of understanding that has been established that we are then going to catapult from to deal with what we're dealing with today. But if you're just coming in cold, hey, by the way, that's not a bad thing, coming in cold. We all came in cold at one point, but get on and stay on the National Leadership Briefing train, because we're always going to be looking off on the horizon for those other opportunities where we can advance the things that we believe in or deal with these threats like the one we're dealing with right now to our democracy. And so get on the briefing, nlbcanada.ca. That's NLB as in briefing, Canada.ca. There's a registration link. Just get in there and give us, all you got to do is give us your email address so we can send you the link to the briefing. Then you can decide when to go on the briefing anytime you want, because we send out all the briefing emails and the videos and everything like that. There's lots of training videos that are on the website as well. You can go on those. And again, very good information. Doesn't cost anything. Our objectives, as I say, are not to raise a bunch of money. Our objectives are to come together, rallying around the things that we believe in related to the authority of parents to raise their kids the way they want, our common desire to see the right of belief that we have and the right of freedom of religion respected by those we elect to civil government. We want that respected and defended when necessary. That's another reason we come together. We also come together because we have this common desire to see the laws and policies of the land provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable that live among us in our communities. And we also come together because we need to stand against the civil government's constant barrage of spending that is heaping debt onto the backs of our children and future generations. So if those are the kinds of things that you sound like that are in line with what you believe, then get on the briefing, because what you're going to be doing is you're going to be adding your voice to ours. We're already thousands strong across the nation, and we're already looking for those opportunities to advance these principles that undergird these pillars that we believe in. So please get on the briefing, because it's really important. But for those of you who aren't on the briefing, I'm going to tell you something here. We have a threat that we have identified. There's a threat that's identified. We have a situation where just recently, for those of you who've been tracking with this, you know this already, but please let me explain this for the benefit of people who do not know what I'm talking about. We recently had a situation in the House of Commons when the Conservative caucus introduced a motion for what's called unanimous consent. Basically, I'm just going to give it to you in a nutshell here. They introduced a motion to take a piece of legislation and take it from first reading and race it all the way through to the end of the process without any consultation, any opportunity for Canadians to have any input, no opportunity for witnesses to appear before the House of Commons. Very unusual way to move a piece of legislation through the House is to not consult Canadians on it. And then they dropped it into the Senate, where the Senate also the conservative Senate, interim Senate leader of the Senate of Canada introduced another motion to race it through to the end there. Again, no consultation. Okay, now you might say to yourself, Doug, you just had said all that stuff leading up to this, and you said there was a crisis of democracy here, and that doesn't sound all that bad to me. Well, you know what? I guess that's because you haven't been around and you don't know how serious this is. Because the challenge is that the Conservative Party of Canada and the Conservative Caucus, that is all of the Conservative members of Parliament on Parliament Hill and the Senate, they form what is called Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition. We have the Liberals that are the government, and then we have this other group in Parliament called Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition. And their job is to oppose. Their job is to challenge. Their job is to review and assess and to determine the strengths, weaknesses, and just to be there to hold the government to account. But when Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition refuses to oppose and does something like what they just did in the House of Commons by moving a bill through, again, you might think, well, Doug, it's only one bill, but it's one bill that is up against the backdrop of all of the other challenges that we have in our society. We have a situation in our society where we have right now just constantly, we have municipalities that are popping up like they're like the spot fires across the country, municipal governments that are introducing conversion therapy bans in their communities. And every one of them has a different definition of conversion therapy, and every one of them has a different approach, and some of them are very extreme and some of them are just outright crazy. And we've got the situation where there was an opportunity for the government to take the lead on this one particular issue, and they abdicated their entire responsibility to do that, to take the lead, to provide some sort of a federal government lawmaking oversight or guidance on what municipalities are doing. They could have done that. They could have consulted with Canadians. They could have actually brought in witnesses. They could have talked to people who had experience on the front line. They didn't do any of that, and they did it. And that ultimately, I believe, and many people who are in the know and understanding about Parliament, how Parliament works, that alone is going to harm our neighbor. We're going to have lots of people in society that are going to experience great pain, if I can call it that, because of what Parliament has done. We're also being tested by Parliament. I want you to know that, because I've been on the inside of these political circles, and I know that when they make a move like this, when they actually feel comfortable enough in themselves, because this is what happened, is that there was a decision made by the Conservative caucus to sit on their hands and just allow this to happen in front of them, to actually have this race through the House of Commons. We actually have a situation where they were testing to see our reaction. And if we have no reaction to them not consulting with us, if they have no reaction to us giving them any kind of a challenge to excluding us from this process, then they're going to do it again. And that's why we're here today. Is because we're going to keep beating this drum over and over again, that what you've done in the House of Commons, our members of Parliament, especially the Conservative caucus, because honestly, to have this be done by Liberal caucus or NDP or the Bloc, I'm really not as surprised as I am by the Conservative Party of Canada caucus, because they are, and they have in the past been known to be the principled governing alternative. However, they have now just acted in a very anti-democratic way, just like the Liberals have, just like the NDP do, and just like the Bloc does. And so we have this situation now where we have to make a decision. What are we going to do about it? Like, what are we going to do about it, right? So that's why we've been leading our organization, National Leadership Briefing, the training that we do here. We've been leading with a strategy. We've been laying down a strategy as to exactly what it is that we need to do. And we set out priorities. In previous videos, you can go to go to the Canada Family Action YouTube page, and you can see the previous videos. You can go to the National Leadership Briefing page, website, and you can see all the previous training videos that we did there. But our priorities are quite simple. They're really quite simple. One is the number one priority right now is to help Conservative Party of Canada members initiate a process of a leadership review within the party. If you have a caucus that does this at that level, where they actually exclude Canadians from the entire process, and the leader, you look at the leader, Leader O'Toole right now, this is the leader of the caucus of Her Majesty's Loyal Opposition, who refused to oppose. You look at him right now, and he is not even talking about it. Doesn't even seem like it's a big deal that his entire caucus, that he is the leader of an opposition that did not oppose, that did not include Canadians. Hasn't even acknowledged that there's even anything wrong with that. Well, I can assure you it's wrong. It's very wrong. If you're not certain it's wrong, take my word for it and ask around to anybody who is a former member of parliament, a former senator, anybody who has any kind of experience with the charter rights and freedoms and our right to participate in the processes and all of this. I mean, it's just wrong. It's wrong. And it's indefensible too. But he seems to be unapologetic and unrepentant. And so the leader really of that party needs to go. And so what we're doing is we're helping people to fuel that process. We're actually helping do everything we can do to educate and inform citizens of Canada as to how they can take responsibility and participate in a process that will remove the leader. Now, and then install a leader, which is the next stage of the process, obviously, that will not only respect the role of the citizen in the processes, the parliamentary processes, but also will be open and available and willing to represent our views and values in the House of Commons. Because we're just getting shut out more and more, especially people of faith in Canada. And you could say, well, I'm not a person of faith. Well, then it's fine. Then how about if standing up for them? How about just standing in, just say, because you're a Canadian citizen, why don't we stand up for each other? Why don't we just not draw lines and put everybody into camps like the Liberals do? Let's keep calling them communities, this community and that community. And let's just say, let's all work together and just say the Parliament of Canada is the one place that's for everybody. And we're going to keep that place open. And so that's the first thing, is let's remove the leader. Let's take care of that. And we also have an accountability priority, and that's the second priority. And that is for all those members of Parliament that did not stand and take the opportunity to vote on this legislation. Instead, they just raced it through. No votes, no hands up, no hands down, no votes yay, no votes nay. We have no idea where they stand on any of these issues that were discussed during this one movement of the bill through the House of Commons. So we're actually going to take a vote ourselves. We're actually going to do an up-down vote here. We're going to go around and we're going to actually talk to all the members of Parliament. We are, you, me, all of us together. Right? Like I am one citizen and I have a member of Parliament. I already have contacted my member of Parliament. I've let him know about our concerns. And I've said, you got to give me an idea as to where you're at on this. Like I need to know, I need to understand your mind on what just happened with you just racing this through the House of Commons. And I got a big, long list of excuses. And you know what I didn't get? I didn't get an apology. I didn't get an acknowledgement that it was wrong. And I didn't get a commitment that he would not do it again, which is what we need. We need these things. We need you to very politely, and I'm gonna just go through some quick language tracks with you to give you an idea as to how sincerely friendly you can be about this. And here it is. It's like, get that meeting with your member of Parliament. Get on the phone with your member of Parliament. Get connected with your member of Parliament somehow and just say, hey, I just wanted to hear you and understand what it is that you were thinking. Like, I really need to know how it is that you thought that moving a piece of legislation through the House of Commons like that and excluding me from the process was a good idea. Because it's not. You excluded me from the process entirely. I have no opportunity to speak to this legislation. And of course, they'll come back with smart alecky cracks like, oh, were you going to speak to this legislation? Well, that's not relevant. Thank you for being so insulting, but that's not relevant right now because you took that opportunity away from me. But anyway, so what please let me know your mind and heart on this, and give them an opportunity to tell you. Now, this is a tough part. This is a tough part. I said this in a previous video. This is going to be the hardest part of your conversation when you ask your member of parliament from either the Conservative Party of Canada, the NDP, the Liberals, whatever it is, to tell you why it is they thought that it was okay to exclude you from the process. And the reason this is so hard, this next part here, is because many of them, and I know because I've got their letters here, many of them are choosing to lie to their constituents. And for especially for people who've been on the national leadership briefing, we can spot a lie. We know how to spot a lie. Like this, for instance, it's a lie. Let me give you an example. There's members of parliament that are going, well, the bill that we raised through the House of Commons, we already had a chance to debate that before in a previous parliament, and we had lots of debate and we brought witnesses and all this stuff. Okay, that's a lie. That's a lie. They're actually making you believe that a previous this bill C4 has been previously discussed and debated in the House of Commons. They're lying to you. And it's hard to watch somebody lie to you without getting offended, but you got to stay cool, stay chill, don't get offended. Okay, come on, liars lie, and that's we're all grown-ups, and we got to be better at not being shocked that liars lie. But give them a chance. Give them a chance. They're in a tough spot. They're in a tough spot. So give them a chance to come back from their lie and apologize and say, look, it's a different bill. I know it's a different bill. It's not the same bill. You're telling me Bill C6 is C4. It's not. Bill C6, that's the bill you're talking about. Bill C4, that's the bill I'm talking about. And you actually didn't allow me to participate in the process because you raced through. So here's what I need from you, please, so we can all get back to business, so we can all return to where we were before you did this to me, is I need you to apologize to me in writing. I need a public apology to all of your constituents like me. I need you to acknowledge that that you now know that you're wrong. And again, there's lots, you can give me this list of excuses, but remember, where you think they're reasons, they're just excuses, because you're not going to be able to provide me with any one thing or reason that is going to justify you locking me out of this process. Not one. And have confidence, by the way, when I say that to you, and you can say that to them, I've talked to lots of members of parliament through and seen their correspondence that they're sent out to their constituents. I haven't seen one. I work full time. I sit at this desk all day long, and all day long I focus on trying to figure out where things are at. And I spent a lot of time trying to figure out where these members of parliament are at. I've studied their responses, and people are sending them in to me, and I'm looking through their letters, and I'm looking for, just give me one good reason. One in the mix of all the good reasons, and there's not one. So you're not going to get one. Okay. I guess there's a slim possibility, but I'm telling you, the odds are so great that your member of parliament is not going to be able to come up with one good reason why they shut you out of that process. So get right down to brass tacks with them at that point. Just say, look, I need you to apologize. Just apologize, not just to me, but to everybody. Something public, something that I can see, whether it's a letter to the paper, or whether it's a letter to your constituents through your distribution list or whatever. Something that we can see. Maybe put on your website. That'd be a good idea. And acknowledge that you were wrong for shutting your constituents out of the process and the ability to participate in any discussion related to a piece of legislation going through the House of Commons. And you regret, obviously, the fact that your senator friends also did the same to you as well. And then the second thing I'm going to need from you is I'm going to need you to commit to me and everyone else that you're never going to do it again. Never. Because you were wrong. So if you can do that, that's great. We all get back to work. We all, okay, you know what? Merry Christmas, and have a good time. Let's reconvene in the spring, in January, whatever. But unfortunately, some of the people that out there that you're going to talk to are not going to do that for you. They're not going to actually take the right road, the principled. They're not going to do the principled thing. They're going to choose to hold on to their excuses and their justifications and all of the reasons why they thought it was okay to do what they did. And that's going to be a massive shame. That's going to be a massive shame, because then you have to say this. Well, then, if you're not willing to commit to never doing it again, and you're not going to apologize to your constituents, and you don't even see that there is something terribly wrong with a motion moving a piece of legislation through the House of Commons without including any input from Canadians, if you don't see that's wrong, you are no good to me. You are no good to the citizens of Canada. So I am going to have to actively work to remove you from office. And this is what we're going to need to do, is we're going to need to take those individuals who do not understand what they did was wrong and work to remove them from office. Now, again, you might say to yourself, wow, Doug, I mean, that's like removing people from office. Hey, you know what? We can do it. We can knock some of them out there. So, and I'm not in a mad way or a we aren't going to get angry or anything. It's just processes. They're just political processes, unemotional political processes. I love you, man. I love you as a brother, but you know what? You're just not the guy for the job. So you got to go. It's that simple. It's like the leader of the party, Aaron O'Toole. No, don't take it personally, man. Like, hey, you're probably a great guy, great father, great family, great, all these great things in your life, but you are not a leader. And you're certainly not the leader we need now, when the world has so many challenges, and you're not even willing to oppose the government of the day and provide Canadians with an opportunity to stand with you. So you got to go. And anyone else in caucus that doesn't stand up and acknowledge that they did something wrong, they got to go. And we're going to use, this is pretty straightforward. We're going to use the constitution of the party. We're going to use the rule book. We're not going to, you're not going to like go in there and like slam our fists on the table and picket offices and none of that stuff. You know what? I never break a sweat doing stuff like that. We're going to make it a surgical removal, very precise. We're going to target ridings. We're going to target, individuals. We're going to look for opportunities. But here's the tough part. As we're doing all of that, I told you that we've got some bad news, and bad news comes, right? Like as you're moving forward, as you're pushing ahead, as you're getting resistance, because you're pushing forward, like things are going to change, right? You got to pivot, as they all teach us to do, right? So the rule book, what they're going to do is they're going to actually, as we're using the rule book and playing fair by the rules, they're actually going to dig in, some of them. And like the leader's going to dig in. He's going to get entrenched. He's going to bunker himself. He's going to try and change the rules. He's going to try and game the system. So like we just had a situation here where there's a petition that's going around, a petition campaign, membersvote.ca. Write that down. Membersvote.ca. Write that down. Got it? Membersvote.ca. And a senator actually had launched this petition to launch a process for a leadership review within the party to help us remove the leader, and ask the question very democratically of the party members. This was to motivate the National Council to send out a referendum and ask the question that, do you want a leadership review? Fair question, right? And then the party members who make the decision as to who the leader is, they get to decide whether that leader stays or not. A really straightforward process, right? But we just had a situation where the National Council has ruled that petition is out of order. So the whole thousands of people that have signed this petition so far, they're thinking, the National Council and the leader's office, they're thinking that if you kill the petition, that you are going to save your job. I think that's sort of like, I'm sure I'm paraphrasing. They've probably got much more, wonderful words to use, but kill the opposition to me in politics. So that's a pretty natural response, but it has happened. Okay. Now we're going to work on that, obviously work with the changes as they come. So again, you could get frustrated and go, oh, I can't believe that. Oh, I can't believe they do that. Oh, the Conservative Party's so awful. And that's it. I'm out of here. I'm done taking my bag. I'm leaving. But you know what? That's what they want you to do. They want you to leave. They want you to take your opposition to them and walk out the door. They want you to take all your influence with you. They want to take everything that you've got, and they want you to just disappear into the night. And that's why I'm saying, no, don't do it. Stand. Now is the time to stand. I know we've seen different examples of people that have left the party. They storm out the door and I have lots of hurrah, and they've been fighting fantastic battles outside of the party. And we need them. We need them to follow their path. If they feel led to do that, I don't take anything away from them. But there is a number of us that need to stand where you are. Stay where you are. As a matter of fact, we also need in the fight, we need people that aren't afraid to run towards the fight. So if you're outside the party and you want to get some influence and have influence within the party, we need you to run as fast as you can to inside the party. And the way you do that is by buying a membership, buying a conservative membership at conservative.ca. It's as simple as you can imagine, $15 for 1 year's membership. Might as well get 2 years because we're going to be in this fight for a bit. So you buy 2-year membership in the Conservative Party of Canada, and we stand. We just dig in. We're not leaving. We're not leaving. And you know what? And we're going to keep using the rule book, and you can keep changing the rules, and you can keep adjusting everything, and you can kind of try and get us out of the party all you want, but we're not leaving because we have priorities. And you might have just blown up or attempted to blow up the petition process for launching a leadership review. But we're not going. Matter of fact, we're going to keep signing the petition. I want you to sign the petition. If you guys have been a member of the party for 21 days, I want you to go sign the petition at membersvote.ca. Keep signing it. Keep signing it. There's a whole arbitration process, and lawyers are looking at this issue and all this stuff. Don't worry about any of that right now. Well, we can get into the minutia later. But for now, just stand. We just need you to not go anywhere. And if you're not in the fight, run to the fight. Run at this fight. Because the fight's coming to you. You might as well run at it because it is coming to you. When the opposition stops opposing the government, and the government is as hostile as they are to our community especially, you better run at the fight because it's going to run you over if you're just standing there flat-footed. So this is how you run to the fight. Get your party membership. If you're 14 years or over, if you're a young person, don't worry, you can still participate. If you're 14 years or over, you can be a member of the party. You get your party membership, you wait the 21 days, and then you are a full-blood member. And I want to tell you how good that is. Let me tell you about this, okay? Because this is exciting. For those of you stuck around in this video, you're going to get the bonus round. Okay, this is the bonus round now, okay? This is one of my party renewal forms that they sent out to me from the party. And on this sheet here, it says here, your membership of the Conservative Party is extremely important right now. And these are the rights and privileges you have as a member. And then I have my membership card here, which by the way, I photocopied and I actually took my card off, but I laminated this thing because this is my membership. Okay. Do you know that I've been a founding member of this party? Do you know that I was on the national council of the previous party that helped merge two parties to form this party? And I've been here since day one. Well, I'm not blowing my own horn when I tell you that. I'm telling you this for a reason. The reason I'm telling you that is because, do you know something? The minute that you get your membership for $15, you and I, we're totally equal. We're totally equal. We're equal. We're at the same, we're two members standing side by side, looking into each other's eyes and going, you know what, brother? You and I, we're equal. We are equal, and we've got the same amount of authority within this party, and we can all go in there and we can cast votes and we can do whatever we want. All we got to do is get this membership, and then we get to do all these things that they outline here. One of which is, it says here, the right to vote for the next leader of the party. That's what it says right there. For $15, you can buy that kind of authority. You know, I mean, we're talking about a couple 100,000 people in Canada have one of these things, right? And you could be one of them. You're not like one of 38 million anymore Canadians. You're one of like a couple 100,000 people, you know, and if we get a few 100,000 of our own, we're just going to pick the next prime minister. We're going to pick the next leader of this party, and we're going to pick the next prime minister. That's the exciting part about all of this, is the equality that we share. We are equals, you and me, and so much of the ground has been paved for you that you're going to have an awesome time. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be really exciting. We're not trying to take you any place into battle that's this terrible, awful place. I mean, yeah, there's probably going to be some excited moments, but you know what? It's going to be fun. It's going to be exciting. We're going to replace the leader of the party. We're going to replace some of the members of parliament that won't acknowledge their mistake. And we're going to move on to establish who it is that's going to become the next Prime Minister of Canada. Someone who will stand in defense of a parent's right to raise their children the way they want. Someone who will respect and defend our right of belief and freedom of religion. Someone who will pass laws that will provide for the safety and security of the citizens, especially the vulnerable that live among us in our communities. And we're going to definitely immediately begin removing the burden of debt off of the backs of our children and future generations. That is what we're doing here. That is what we're doing here. So if you think, okay, I'm busy, I'm an accountant, I got my own, God's called me to be here or whatever, trust me, what is happening here now is going to affect you there, wherever you are. So run towards the fight. Just give me a tiny bit of your time and invest a tiny amount of money and secure that additional authority that you can get when you buy a Conservative Party of Canada membership. And let's get busy fixing this problem we've got. It is a crisis of democracy. It is a crisis in our democracy right now. And if they see us do nothing as they measure and qualify and quantify our apathy to see what kinds of things they can get away with in the future, if they see us do nothing, they're going to do it again and again and again. And they're going to dismantle the church in Canada. They're going to dismantle your family, and they're going to dismantle any opposition that there is to what they want to do on the Hill, in the House of Commons and in the Senate. So we got to be there. We got to participate. And don't worry about it if you say, Doug, I still don't know anything about what you're talking about. Don't worry about it. Right now, all you got to do is get your membership, get on the National Leadership Briefing, get your membership, and then track with us as we do this and get ready to pick the next Prime Minister of our nation. Those are the priorities, and that's what we're doing right now. Thanks for your time today. Gosh, I hope you stay with me. Gosh, I hope that you let us be in relationship. I want to serve you. I want to work with you. I want to help you. I want to have you see your influence grow. Let me serve you. Let me be there with you. I want to be there with you. All right. Anyway, thanks so much for your time today. God bless you, your family, and this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.